Whether small or large, disasters disrupt people's lives. The majority of disasters the Red Cross responds to each year are small in scale. House fires, where either a single family or number of families are affected. Nevertheless, the impact on those affected is the same.
We had a house fire a few years ago, and after the fire, my response was relief. I was so happy my house was intact, my wife was okay, my cats were okay. My house looked like it basically had a roof, and I was very, very happy that people were walking away from it and it wasn't still on fire when I got there. I was just tremendously relieved.
A disaster is an event that affects people and causes an impact on the way they live. It doesn't matter what size it is. It's a disaster. Single family, multifamily, or many, many communities that are affected.
At the other end of the spectrum are large-scale disasters, the ones you hear about in the national media.
When we initially were activated for Katrina, we had no idea how long it was going to be, but we were willing to be open as long as we needed to.
When a larger disaster like a hurricane or earthquake strikes, the number of people with needs increases. The community's preparation and network of agencies is called into action.
Think about what's happened over the last 20+ years. Look at the size of the disasters we faced. You think about Andrew, you think about the Northridge earthquake, Midwest floods, I mean on and on and on, all the way until you get to Katrina. And just the scope of disasters alone has grown to the point that our partnership has grown with the American Red Cross. As they've grown, we have grown, and it's been a healthy relationship.
At the Red Cross, we increase the number of workers and size of our organization in relation to the increased number of people affected by the disaster. We call this scaling the disaster.
The response that we do depends on the disaster that we have. The most common type of disaster is a fire. Usually a single family, sometimes an apartment, or maybe even an apartment complex. And then it scales up to wider scale natural disasters like tornadoes, flooding, or even Katrina.
There's a logical partnership between the National Disability Rights Network and its affiliates and the American Red Cross because we are a cross-disability organization operating in every state and territory. And we can provide help in the planning and preparedness aspect to make sure that the programs run by the Red Cross are fully accessible and are ready to meet the needs of people with disabilities in any type of disaster.
Even when a large-scale disaster elicits a national or even international response, there is always the core community originally affected. No matter how large the disaster, it is the fabric of these people's lives that is impacted the most. Their long-term recovery can continue for years after people from other communities have returned home and the response has scaled down to the resources of those communities.
It takes about 10 times longer for the relief than for the immediate response. And it takes about 10 times longer for the recovery than the relief.